obviously we're here to discuss the proposed closure of the Royal Bank branch in the High Street here in Nairn. We've been out, Nick and I have been out round the businesses today and round the streets with the petition. We found, a lot of people that are very annoyed at the idea that the Royal Bank might be contemplating closing this branch. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to get your views, obviously to find out what is important to you about the keeping the bank branch open, and hopefully obviously be able to take back those messages as we go through our work and relay that back to the Royal Bank of Scotland. I'm delighted to have David Richardson from the Federation of Small Businesses here tonight, who's going to cover some points from the FSB perspective about the bank, and then I'd like to say a few words about the issue of the bank closures in general, where I believe the campaign is going, and then I'd like to open it up to you and the floor to get your input. So without any further ado, I'll introduce David. Thank you.
Thanks, Drew. Well, as Drew said, my name is David Richardson. I'm FSB's Development Manager in the Highlands Islands. If you don't know about us, essentially we're the biggest business organisation in the UK. We've got members in every corner of it, and really our primary role here is to give members a voice, so the voice of smaller businesses. So when it comes to bank closures or anything else like that, it matters to us. And about a month ago I had a meeting with Drew. We talked about all sorts of things, banks being one of them. He said he wanted to do these meetings. We're delighted to support that, because individually, as a voice, we have a voice, politicians have a voice, you have a voice, for Nairn, but collectively we have a much louder voice. And it's not just about Nairn, it's about all the banks that are closing, and if we all get together and everyone speaks, we have much more impact. So that's what we're all about. Now, we've been involved in banking issues for a long time. 2 years ago we had a big UK-wide banking study that we commissioned. A guy came out from London. I took him to Invergordon, which had just lost all its banks at that stage, and to Loch and he met a lot of members, and he had a lot of discussions about the impact on businesses, and that was quite an influential report. And then we have now, so this year we have the Royal Bank closing, so we submitted to this report here, a submission to the to Westminster Scottish Affairs Committee on the impact of Royal Bank of Scotland closures across the UK, and this was last month, and it's on our website if anyone's interested. Just to put things in context, FSB research suggests that bank branches are closing faster in Scotland than elsewhere in the UK. That around 1 in 2 small business owners have experienced bank branch closures. That's a lot, 1 in 2. Then the current rate of closures in 2017 is on course to be a record. So RBS, for example, recently announced they were cutting a further 62 branches. Now it's 52 because they've given a stay of execution for 10. That execution still take place come December. This means that there will be just 89 or 99, dependingly, RBS branches open in Scotland, compared to around 300 in April 2013. So in a very short period of time, we've lost a huge number of branches. Since 2015, at least 220 bank branches have closed or are scheduled to close in Scotland. That's 220, maybe 210 if RBS, but it's a lot of bank branches. The Sunday Express estimated that 743 high street banks will be left in Scotland by midway through this year. We think that could be optimistic. Although RBS stated they would never close the last bank in town, that's exactly what they've done. They've done it in the Highlands, they've done it in all sorts of places, but they've also done it in Invergordon. What happened in Invergordon? Well, older people especially hit hardest by these things. They then went to Alness, just up the road to the bank, and did the shopping there as well. So the centre of gravity shifted. In Loch it's now a 70-mile round trip to Ullapool to go to the bank. So it makes a big difference. Figures quoted in 2016 Commons debate suggest that this has taken place 165 times in Scotland and north of England. 165 times the last bank in town is closed, despite what RBS said. And as I just said earlier, we know that the elderly and low-income households are most adversely affected, which is also a real worry. So there's a lot of concern. We've got a lot of information that's also on the impact on businesses, but we won't tell you about it now because you're here to talk about that. On ATMs, we're also doing out of interest a petition on ATMs, with links changing the rules there. We're doing it with Which magazine right across the UK, so it's a national one across the UK as a whole, and if you're interested in that, if you Google it, you'll find about it. One other thing quickly, what we say is all evidence-based, we've got figures and stats and things, that all comes from businesses, by and large. It's really important. We have lots of surveys. You don't have to be a member of FSB to take part in those surveys, you just have to have a business. The more people that do it, the more powerful our voice, which actually is the more powerful the business voice. So we do ask everyone to do that. And if anyone's interested, finally I'll sit down, but anyone's interested in joining FSB, Jim over there is your man. Thanks.
Thank you, David. I wanted to just put a few facts in front of you tonight in terms of the position that the Royal Bank of Scotland find themselves in. One of the arguments that they'll make just now is that banking has changed, that now people want to do more digital banking, that there isn't the demand, that footfall is down, that this is a service that people no longer want. What I find when I speak to people is that they might say, yes, they are using more digital banking, yes, they are doing things in a different way, but I've not yet to meet somebody who wants to see the branch close. I've yet to see somebody who, despite using digital technology, if there's no automatic teller machine, because obviously if the branch closes, so does the machine, who can actually print money from their mobile phone, because that's not a service that is available at the moment. I've yet to meet a business who thinks it's a good idea to meet a mobile van, for example, at a set period of time with a week's takings because they've not been able to bank them. And I've yet been able to find, as of yet, I've been unable to find any justification that I can see for making this particular type of saving within the bank. And to put that into perspective, you know, everybody knows that the Royal Bank of Scotland has been in trouble for the past 10 years. That's the reason that you own it just now, because you own over 70% of the shares as a taxpayer. UK government actually holds those shares just now. So the Royal Bank of Scotland has been in trouble, but it's not been in trouble because it's got an expensive branch network to run. I want to come back to the cost of branch networks. It's been in trouble because they were gambling on subprime mortgage packages on international markets, and that's what cost them their profits. They've been in trouble because they were mis-selling insurance products on banking services, and they had to put billions aside in order to pay for that, and that's taken them up until just about now to get rid of it. To give you an idea of the kind of profit that the Royal Bank of Scotland can make in a normal year, their first half-year profits for this year are already £939 million. Now, to get back to the cost of running a branch network, it's a drop in the ocean, the cost of running the branches within the actual overall business of the Royal Bank of Scotland, just as it is for all other banks. And it's my view very much that they've become an inconvenience. They shouldn't be. I think there are huge opportunities for the banks and other businesses to actually be able to reconnect with communities and build better trust. And if you remember, a few years ago, just after the bank bailout, they were saying, you know, we're there for you in your branches and your towns and villages. And they made a big advertising campaign about it. And actually, that was right. They should have been doing that. And they should be sticking to that. Because what we found throughout the Highlands, and our experience, this is the experience of many others elsewhere, is that when you allow this kind of thing to happen, very soon a similar thing will happen to another business. So for example, if I give you Camusi, not too far away, used to have a Royal Bank of Scotland, used to have a Bank of Scotland, and now has none. Because when one closes, it gives the excuse to say, well, there's no need for these services, we'll close the others. And that's been really inconvenient in many ways, in physical ways. You know, so for example, during the winter, we know of people who were disabled, we know of people who were you know, elderly, who were trying to get to meet these vans, got all the way down there, and actually it's a true story, in the snow and everything, to go and meet the van, and find they couldn't actually get onto the steps because it wasn't actually enabled for them to get onto the van to do the business that they wanted to do in that day. Plus, you know, we live in the fact where there's only 17% of mobile coverage at 4G level within Scotland at the moment. It's an issue that we're tackling with the UK government just now. But the fact is, if you're going to use these mobile services, you need good backup services in order to make them work, and there's no guarantee that these mobile vans will actually do it. Now bring that back, and I'm going to just finish on this, to bring it back into the context of Nairn. We know that there are, at the moment, there are choices. You know, there are other banks, and you know, people often say, well, you know, it's the way things are going, you know, we should allow this to you know, we should let this happen, and you know, I'll just have to switch my account and things like that. But it really is just a part of the domino effect for it. And just like Camusi, when one goes, the other one will start to go, well, wait a minute, why are we the ones that are doing it here in this particular town or village? And you'll see, it could be the Royal Bank today, it'll be the Bank of Scotland tomorrow. In Camusi, it was, you know, it was the Bank of Scotland that shut first, and then it was the Royal Bank that closed. Sorry, the Royal Bank closed first, and then the Bank of Scotland closed after it. So this is the way these patterns happen. And before long, you could find that if you want to actually visit a branch, you're going to have to go to the super branch in Inverness to do it. Because I know they're planning to upgrade the branch in Inverness and make it a bit more of an experience. My contention is they should make banking an experience in our towns and our villages where people need them, and that experience should be good. It'll cost them a fraction of the money that they spend on other things in order to do it, and we should be demanding to have those services. So I'll stop there, because as I said, what I did want to do was open up to the floor and get your views. So I'm very keen to hear. I know some people have done some research already, so somebody willing to get us started on some of the things they found out